Trump initiated the open division of Ukraine, not territorially, but everything that exists or remains must be given up for debts. Billions of dollars in resources, fertile soil, or remaining trade infrastructure. So-called aid is not charity. For finances, weapons, mercenaries, for all military resources Ukraine has, except forcibly mobilized citizens, something must be paid. Trump made others speak openly too. Not only major players have claims on Ukrainian wealth, but also smaller ones. This is Ekaterina Tikhomirova with you. Hello, in the new version of that agreement, it relates to land metals. Kiev is obliged to compensate American losses amounting to over $120 billion. The U.S. should gain authority to manage an investment fund aimed at Ukraine's recovery from income from licensing fees and rent for natural resource use. Moreover, as the media gossips, this new agreement includes a section of Gazprom's pipeline going to Europe. The U.S. demands control over it too, just with this document alone. In essence, Ukraine becomes an American colony for many years. However, a debt is honored by payment. Americans need peace in the territory that, in essence, Zelensky has long given away when he kept saying his endless give, give, and give. Europeans demand war to continue. They plan to fight on the Ukrainian training ground not only with Russia, but also with the shadow of the U.S. The resources are already in the pockets of major players. The problem is that, apparently, the country's resources have already been distributed among Europeans. And the previous American administrations have given and sold them, while Ukraine's own interests are the last priority. Annalena Baerbock, the former German foreign minister, emphasizes that Europe has a direct interest in this matter.
Any agreement between Ukraine and the U.S. concerning rare earth metals must comply with European legislation. This is our European continent.
Ukraine is being openly divided and developed not only by relatively large European predators, but also by second-tier consumers like Poland, which is also trying to stake its claim at the division table. Specifically, a Polish deputy minister voiced the idea, Odessa, and 500,000 hectares.
We should have a vision of Poland regarding Ukraine. Why in Poland are we not talking about what I want to propose now? For Ukrainians to lease, for example, for 50 years, or sell us a dock where Poles could have their grain port, for example, in Odessa, where Polish grain, European grain, would go. This way, we ensure access to the Black Sea, where a ton of wheat for African countries, on average, costs 100 zlotys more because transportation is cheaper there. Poles fear Ukraine's entry into the EU. I am afraid too. We don't know what will happen next. If it were so, 500,000 hectares on a platter for Polish livestock companies in Ukraine. We could lease at least 500,000 hectares for Polish farmers.
In fact, the famous Polish idea of Great Poland from sea to sea is about this, connecting the Black and Baltic Seas under Polish protectorate. The Polish deputy minister once again voiced the long-standing itching dream of Warsaw's unrealized imperial ambitions. Yes, adding that this idea is personal and private, but emphasized, voiced by an official face. There is no doubt that behind the scenes, the opinion that something should be taken from Ukraine before it's too late and everything is taken is being discussed. Not only Poland, but also Britain and France have their eyes on Odessa. On the French diplomatic website, for example, an article recently appeared claiming Odessa is the most French city in Ukraine. In early April, the heads of the armed forces of France and Britain arrived in Kiev. This is the result of that coalition of the willing to continue fighting to the last Ukrainian. During the discussion of sending a military contingent, Macron stated earlier that such a contingent is combat ready. Primarily, they are interested in deploying their military in Odessa and Lviv, as the first city allows control over the Black Sea situation, and the second city serves as a gateway to the European Union. The preparation for such an intervention was confirmed at a briefing by the official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry. Quote, "In essence, it was about the parameters of the future Franco-British intervention Black Sea ports of Ukraine, primarily Odessa," stated Maria Zakharova. The Odessa port is trade logistics, much cheaper than, for example, rail. Yes, longer, but much cheaper. European preferences of European politicians are also already known. They intersect with American ones. These are mines, ports, and lands. These are resources needed for the economies of France and Britain. As for the deal on resources, it is not being delayed. Zelensky, it is claimed, has already given everything to the British.
I tell you, the deal cannot be signed. You cannot sell the same thing to two different people. Rare earth metals sold to the UK. I assert this.
With Zelensky's rise to power, the transfer of Ukraine's strategic assets and resources became widespread. 40% of Ukraine's arable land no longer belongs to Ukraine itself. By the way, opening the land market is a requirement for loans. During his years in power, Zelensky managed not only to drag the country into conflict, but also to give everything away in pieces and make the population die for lands and resources of private foreign corporations. By the way, the wealth, yes, belongs to Ukrainians, according to the Constitution. But the Constitution in Ukraine has long become just a paper edition on a dusty shelf, alas, of an already sold-out state. This was Ekaterina Tikomarova with you. Until next time.